Emily, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. It just told me it can't access my video, so hopefully everything's okay and it was just being weird.
Do you want to try again?
No,
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 swing
because
it. We'll see how it goes.
it's uploading the right amount of megabytes, so I'm happy.
Okay.
Um, Hi.
Hi again.
So, uh, for those of you just joining, I am meeting with Emily Glass. You are the new CEO of Syncro?
Yes, new-ish, I guess. I started late last year.
Okay,
It some days feels new. I'm still learning a lot. And some days it feels like I've been here for a long time. But
sure.
yeah, on the new side for sure.
Now, I had no idea that, they were looking for a CEO, let alone that they brought one on.
Yeah.
So did somebody leave or step down?
Yes. So Robert right there was the CEO of Syncro up until the time I joined.
Okay.
And actually I was really fortunate because as you said, it wasn't a advertised search, but I did join the board of Syncro earlier last year. And started to work with Robert and the team and saw, how amazing the culture of the company is and the product is.
Hmm.
And I had a background in the MSP space. So when Robert decided to leave towards the end of the year, it made sense to join as CEO and sort of take over for him and all the great stuff that he had built with the team.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we might as well just dive in. What are you bringing to the table as the CEO of Synchro?
Yeah. So I alluded to it really briefly, but I have had a number of years of experience in the MSP space. It kind of chose me. So I worked at a small company called Backupify, and we were acquired by Datto in
Hmm.
2014. And so I built a lot of my knowledge and experience with MSPs working at Datto for a number of years as an executive. And most, I think, the most education that I got and knowledge that I'm bringing to Syncro is that I really built up the tech support team at Datto, and through that job and all the events, got to really understand MSPs, their challenges, their businesses, the opportunities, their struggles. And I think that unique knowledge about what it's like to run an MSP is something that Syncro sort of already has, but I
Hmm.
have seen through scaling data. And I think I really bring that unique perspective to the role.
So, there's been some real interesting things in the news lately with the takeover of another major MSP company, and infighting and everything else.
Mhm.
Um, is Synchro is still a private company, correct?
Syncro is a private company. We do have an investor, main sale partners, and they are, they're wonderful to work with. And I said I was on the board, and now as CEO of the company, they are very excited about the MSP space
Hmm.
as well. But I'm here to run the company, so the capital structure is kind of on the side. My focus day to day is really running the company and building a healthy business.
So when it comes to running a company in the MSP space, the reason I brought that up is MSPs look at vendors, the RMM and the PSA vendors, and I think they just look at it as, oh, woe is me, all hope is lost, the sky is falling, right? Because everything's getting gobbled up by uh, VC money, right? Venture
Hmm.
capitals is coming in and acquiring all of these companies. And then really large companies are acquiring companies, brands, whatever we want to call it. And on our end, the MSP side of things, it feels like they're acquiring companies just to add bottom line because that's the only way that they can see like large growth, right? Like
Mm.
two-figure percentages for the growth. With your company still being small, um, how how do you want to be perceived by MSPs?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really unique about Syncro has been since inception and still is today is that we're really focused on emerging MSPs. So, and we're focused and we listen. So I think that's unique. I think as those vendors you alluded to, larger vendors grow, they go to where the larger MSPs are. They add a lot of functionality for those larger MSPs. The solutions get more complex. They add business practices that might not be so friendly for emerging MSPs that really don't want to make too much of an upfront commitment
Mhm.
and they're just getting started. So I think Syncro has and continues to really be a good partner with transparent pricing, no contracts for emerging MSPs. And that's like our sweet spot. That's what we're focused on. So the features that we build are designed for those folks who are just starting out, who need a complete platform, but they don't need depth in every single area yet. They'll need it over time, and we're working to add that as well. But we have a complete platform for a reasonable price from the get go for them. And then I think the other thing I mentioned is like listening to our MSPs. So I have an MSP background. I've worked with a ton of them in my career already. And I've been to a ton of events. And also, we have a lot of people on the team who have worked at or run an MSP as well. So it's
Mhm.
part of our DNA to really fundamentally understand the challenges of MSPs and as they change over time be really responsive to those. So that plays out in the, like I mentioned, the features that we launch, but just where we invest our time and how we run the business, right? What our priorities are. You mentioned as people get larger, maybe more about the bottom line or, some business outcomes. We're really about helping our MSPs reach their full potential. And so that means we have a community. We spend a lot of time and engagement there. You'll see us in communities outside of our community on Facebook and Reddit and anywhere else our MSPs want to engage with us. Listening to the feedback and really prioritizing the features and the services that are important to them.
When when I look at Synchro, I see a product that eh, is it the prettiest thing in the world? No, but it works. It does what it says it will. I think you guys have had uh, a few missteps over time, but every company will, right? So how does a company such as yours navigate all of the negative, icky things people say about you online? Like, I guess, first and foremost, do you feel like you, as a company, not you personally, but do you feel like you guys need to respond to every single thing that somebody says about your company?
Okay. That was a lot of questions in one.
I know, right?
Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about my philosophy that I think partners of Synchro have seen. If they've been around for the last 6 months, sort of for my tenure, they've seen this in action, which is that I believe in transparency. So when you say, do I feel like we need to respond? My preference, my approach is that we are proactively communicating about what happened. So it's not that people have to call us out or demand an answer. That we are being proactive in our communications and explaining what happened to the best that we can, and then following up with more detail as we have it to really, like I said, be trusted partners with our customers. Yes, we have service issues like every software company has. We don't have a bug-free product, but I take those really seriously. I know that time and energy and errors, right, that are due to those things are affecting people's livelihoods. And we at Syncro, it's our mission, like I said, to help MSPs grow and run their business. So we take those things seriously. And I am all in service of transparency. And also, I invite anyone to email me anytime at a CEO at syncromsp.com who wants to chat. I have had numerous conversations, but never enough with our partners. And I'm always willing to field more. So when you ask, do we feel like we need to respond? I think, we can always do better. We're trying our best to be as transparent as possible. No, we probably don't respond to every jab or every single comment. But we're trying to be proactive in what's happened. And I want to make sure that we are accessible to folks all the way up to me, including me. And I really do want to hear from people. And I've had like I said, a lot of conversations so far, but always welcome more.
I love that. All right. So let's talk about the product. You guys do anything new lately? I mean, you don't release like new features more than once a month or anything, so.
Yeah, right. So we have released a bunch of stuff. This
I know.
year, yeah, we did some nice things for our partners in the UK, and we're growing there. We did some nice changes around VAT and tax handling that really was a pain point for our existing partners there, but has really helped us sort of appeal to other emerging MSPs in that region. We launched a Mac agent that was really early this year. And then one thing that I'm really excited about that we've launched is Windows OS patching and management. And that, go back to talking about community-driven development. That really was the number one feature request we've had from whether it was a prospect or a partner of ours to add to the RMM side of our feature set. So that came out about a month-ish, 2 months ago.
I thought you guys already had Windows patching.
No, we had third party software patching, but we didn't have Windows OS patch management until about, a couple months ago. And maybe you're surprised because you would have assumed we would have had it, which is why it was the number one most requested feature.
Well, that's really cool that you guys added that. I know that you guys, and I just for people that don't realize it, I was being sarcastic when I said what I said earlier. You guys release so many features. It's really hard to keep up. Like as a Syncro partner, sometimes you will like, obviously you're resolving issues, right? But sometimes you're adding so many like new features that people can't even like implement them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's a challenge with a PSA, I think, in general. Yeah.
So what would you say to the MSPs that can become, I'll say, discouraged by their inability to keep up and deploy all of the new features as you release them? And not because like, oh, I just don't use this tool that they're integrating with, or like maybe you've got a month where you just released so many new things that they just can't get to it all.
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, we both know that MSPs are super busy. So that's probably a very common kind of challenge, right? MSPs are trying to keep on top of all the changes in the market and run and grow a business. And so at Syncro, when we put out a feature, we really try to, make folks aware of it. So you'll see it in the product. We have release notes that are updated every 2 weeks. And we also post in the forum. Sometimes we'll do a blog post, depending, if it's large enough, that kind of thing. So we try to make it easy to discover these things. As you mentioned, we have an agile release process. So yes, they can come at any time. We release very often. We can release whenever we want and whenever something's ready. And we've started releasing a bunch of smaller features more regularly. You'll see like about one a week now from us. So for someone who's really busy and overwhelmed by that, I might recommend, and I know many of the sort of very, the emerging MSPs are probably overwhelmed by that. I would recommend maybe a cadence of like quarterly, or, whatever you can manage for your business. If you just set aside an hour or 15 minutes, I don't know, whatever you can afford to set aside to just read through the release notes, or read through the feature announcements in our community. It's a very consolidated list of everything that we've launched. See if anything tickles your fancy, could help you run your business better. And in the future, we're launching a product newsletter. So that'll make that even easier for people to digest sort of what's happened in the last month. And then again, like cherry pick those things that might be useful to them. Of course, I think most of them are probably useful given that we're community driven. But I know people don't have a ton of time to invest in PSA management. So we do try to make it easy to adopt, and produce a lot of materials to help people and guide them in that.
All right. And for those of you listening, you can go to syncromsp.com, and down in the footer, I see under support, they've got release notes. There might be somewhere else, but that's one way I know you can get it.
Yeah, you can definitely go there, and they're updated through mid-July at this point. So you can see all the latest stuff.
So, do you have anything exciting that you want to talk to MSPs about today?
We have a lot of exciting things coming. Things I can, but then you ended with things I could talk about. So yeah, I think we have some themes of investment for sure over the rest of this year that you're going to see. So maybe I could talk about the themes and then give a few specifics. So you'll see us going more in depth in the PSA area for sure. I mentioned we released OS patching. That was like the number one RMM feature. We kind of feel like the RMM is in a good place. It has all of the top functionality that like our customers require. So we're turning our focus a bit to the PSA. And that means more investment in ticketing, the workflows there in automation, and also in terms of invoicing. So that's where you'll see us start to make more investment. Specifically, we did tease that rich text communications are coming within tickets soon. So the ability to have GIFs or GIFs. I'm on the GIF side of the fence, but anyway, images, all sorts of, fancy text. It'll just improve communications with your customers, make it easy to guide them through anything they might need to do, or get a clear understanding of the issue that they're trying to solve. So that's something that's coming soon that I can talk about very specifically. So that's one theme. And then I think, if you hit on some of the challenges we've had in terms of just general reliability. It's always a core focus of ours as we continue to grow our partner base. We want to make sure that we're looking ahead and we're planning to make sure that the platform's going to be scalable. And I have had transparent communication with our partners over the work we're doing there and the investments that we're making. So you'll see a lot of continued investment in that area because I want to have a stable, reliable platform that MSPs can count on. So that's a big priority for us. And then lastly, we're introducing more sort of Unity and that complete platform that I talked about earlier. And so that when emerging MSPs come, they have a complete set. It's really simple to add new tools to their toolkit. So you'll see more investment in some of our integrations, sort of essential things that MSPs need to offer their clients and manage from within one system. So those are some of the themes and things I'm excited about this year.
I have it. When you have like a really good question and then you forget it.
Oh no! Drink a glass of water or something, or
That
I don't know.
that doesn't fix it for me. When
Think about something else. A rainbow.
I've got a fun story for you. Whenever that happens, and I tell my wife that that's what happened, she always tells me, usually that means whatever was about to come out of your mouth was a lie.
Wasn't good. was it what, a lie?
A lie.
Okay.
I don't believe her. I think she was lying when she said that. Although my kids tend to forget what they were saying a lot, so I am starting to see her point.
Yeah, it is highly defensible. I had a great thing to say, but I forgot it.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, I was going to say this really great thing.
Wonderful, Steve. I'm sure it was wonderful.
Well, it was very insightful, and honestly, it was going to blow everyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, you can edit this again later, and you can put it in.
that's the best part is I don't edit these. I leave all of this ridiculousness in. If anything, just to let people know that like this is a real conversation and this isn't scripted. We're just chatting.
Yep. So this is the part that they watch at 2x, or they listen to at 2x. I got it. Okay.
Probably, yeah. They probably listen to the whole thing at 3x, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I can't go anything lower than like 1.75 anymore. Anything lower than that for a podcast for me, I can't do it anymore. So I'm with them.
Sometimes I struggle to retain what's being said
Mm,
if it's too fast.
mm,
Um, like I'll hear the words, but I don't retain the words. I mean, I was just watching. My wife and I love Only Murders in the Building,
mm.
and we were just watching it last night, and there was this scene where this girl's just talking a mile a minute, and I had to rewind it 3 times because I had no idea like what are the words that she's saying.
Yes. You
So
need to put captions on. You need to put closed captioning on. That's like me and Letterkenny. I need the closed captions, otherwise forget it. I don't know what's happening.
we always watch with that on as well, but
Yeah.
she was talking so fast the captions moved that so quickly.
Oh.
It was nuts. So let's
You need to
talk
watch at half
about
speed.
yeah. Let's talk about podcasts for a second. You said you like to listen at 1.75. What do you find valuable? What do you listen to when you've got some free time and can actually give a podcast your focus?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been listening to podcasts on and on over the last few months, and it's usually a blend of. It has been over that period a blend of two topics. One, anything MSP related. I know that's so boring to hear for you, but I listen to Rocket MSP, of course, and I won't even name the others. But
You
a
can.
lot of
It's fine. They're
a
they're all
lot
great.
anything that helps me gain insights into what MSPs are struggling with, somebody else's perspective on an issue, a regional kind of perspective. So I sort of just search MSP or managed services, and then I cherry pick whatever topics and episodes look interesting to me. And I especially like the ones where MSPs are on and they're talking about their challenges or a problem they solved or a business practice or something like that. So I always get great ideas from that for Syncro or for like my next day or something. So I listen to those, and then the other topics actually is around inclusivity, and we do a lot of work at Syncro on our culture. And we did a Racial Healing Allies course earlier this year, which got me started on a process of like self-discovery and learning around racism in this country. And so a lot of the podcasts I listen to are on that topic and
Hmm.
educating myself and learning more, because that is the onus that's on me, I think, to do. So that's a journey I've started really in earnest on this year, actually.
Now, I've heard that some companies, they take the approach of, we're not one race, we're not one gender, we're all just members of the company, and they don't need all these different. And he's not being a dick, but he doesn't need all of these different cultural groups and everything else. I feel like I almost feel like this is remember like 90s hip hop where it was like East Coast versus West Coast, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like the West Coast, you guys, and I don't mean this negatively, you guys are very like receptive and understanding and inclusive, while as everybody on the East Coast, um, they just haven't caught up yet.
Hmm.
Is that something? So I know that you have remote workers at
Hmm.
Synchro. Not everybody's in like Seattle or San Francisco or wherever. Do you feel like, um, without naming names, do you feel like you have met people and that kind of actually fits?
So it's interesting that you asked this question. I actually live in Boston.
Okay.
And I'm from Montreal originally. You were right. A lot of Syncro and the companies that formed Syncro started on the West Coast. So a lot of
Hmm.
our early employees and Robert and our founders started on the West Coast. So definitely we have roots of that in our culture. Um, I see it. I don't think about it, day to day, or I don't think necessarily about Syncro because, as you mentioned, we have remote workers all over the U.S., all over Canada, and some all over the world. As
Hmm.
they've moved and the flexibility of work allows them to do that. I don't really think about us as East and West or even regionally. I think of, when I hear some of those comments about this concept of like a universal human experience, and I don't think that that's necessarily a helpful way to help move us forward in the culture. I think that different people do experience, being an American or being a Canadian or whatever, being in the world, by gender, by race, by other things that they experience the world differently. And I think we have to kind of open our eyes and acknowledge that if we have a chance to sort of make the world a better place. So I think the thought that like everything's all good, everybody's equal is kind of ignoring the challenges that we have and won't necessarily help move us forward.
What is the most recent book you've read?
Good question. I haven't had a lot of time to read books, but what I am reading right. So, I read Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0 by Jim Collins recently. But what I'm reading right now, and relative to the relevant to the subject we're talking about, is My Grandmother's Hands by Resma Menakem. And it's about the history of racism in this country, and the effects that are felt by that today, and how we all are kind of conditioned by that.
So I'll be honest, I don't take as much time as I probably should to read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I like listen to books,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing that I have found that I love, it's called Blinkist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an app. I know I can get it on an iPhone or even on the web. Um, it will basically, it's an audiobook or you can read it, but you can like get the whole book done in about 15 minutes. So,
The quick read or listen.
y- yeah, think of it like, Cliff Notes. So
Mm-hmm.
they've got, like the seven
The
habits of
summary.
highly
Yeah.
effective people from Stephen
Yeah.
R. Covey. But yeah, they're just giving you like bullet points of these are the things that you really have to take away from this book. That
Yeah.
way you can skip some of the fluff. And I don't think that this type of thing may, well, thank you for that. And Emily, CEO of Syncro, thank you so much for coming on and being my guest here at the Rocket MSP podcast.
Thank you for having me, Steve.